welcome everybody. I'd like to start by acknowledging the Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the original custodians of the land that we stand on today, and celebrate their elders past, present and emerging. I would also like to say a very, very warm welcome to the many stakeholders that are here with us today. We have members from across the club, from our partner family, our corporate family, our members, our high performance team, our staff, our coaching staff, and of course the members of the media that are so important in helping us tell our story. And in the very short time of our club's history, which is now just over 3 years old, we've told some wonderful stories, and fairy tales seem to be the theme of the week, and this club has actually enjoyed a fair bit of a fairy tale ride as we get through our third season. And it gives me great pleasure today to confirm what is already out there, that we have, with the endorsement of the Board of Directors, and can I please welcome our Chair, Karen Nylander, and Scott Harris and Steve Old, who have worked with me on extending Scott's deal to the completion of the 26-27 season. And I want to say a big congratulations to Scott. Thank you very much for your contribution so far, and I'm so excited that we're going to be working together for another 3 years, and can you all join me in congratulating Scott Roth? The decisions to extend coaches on long-term deals are not decisions that are made lightly by myself or the board. And all things considered, his on-court performance absolutely speaks for itself. But this club is built on 5 pillars, of which community engagement, growing the game, commercial success and sustainability, and making sure our people love coming to work are the 4 other pillars. And I would have to say I've never met a coach that contributes so evenly across the 5 pillars of our business, and I very much enjoyed working with Scott. I know the whole front office team and his coaches and everybody that are here today have learnt a lot from Scott, but the main thing that we have learned is his passion, not only for the Tasmania JackJumpers brand and the club, but for this beautiful state that we all reside in and the people of Tasmania that we represent every time we take the court. We take it very seriously that we represent Tasmania on the national and international sporting stage. It is absolutely a privilege to do that, and I couldn't think of a better person to help us lead that until the 26-27 season. So Scott, thank you very much, and I'll now hand over to you to say a few words.
Let me first start with a few thank yous. Obviously, this has been a remarkable journey for myself and my family. I really like to thank Larry Ketzelman in his continual sponsorship of this team, more importantly, his aggressiveness to make sure that this place happened in a short amount of time, and his passion with this club in general, and allowing me to do my job. It's been quite remarkable to work with him, and a big thanks to Larry and his support throughout this. To the board members and also to our sponsors, who now have really become family members to me. This is obviously a home for me right now, and I love every minute of it, and the board and the sponsors have really become a part of my family, as I've said, and my wife and my daughter just love interacting with the board and interacting with the sponsors, and growing your businesses and helping you do the best we can. To my coaches and my players, I wouldn't be standing here obviously without them. They do the grunt work. They make me look good at times, most of the time actually, and I couldn't do it without them, and so the support from them has been fantastic. My wife and daughter, obviously, is a huge thank you to them to allow me to go on this journey of this crazy job that I have of being a player and now a coach, and the support that they've given me has been fantastic. The last person is probably the most important person to be thanking is Christine Finnegan, and her wherewithal and resilient and leadership that has taken over this club and driven it in the right direction to give us the stability, and her passion to allow this to happen and push it forward. I can't thank Christine enough in all those areas. She's been a great deal to our family in general, and without her, this probably would not have been able to happen in such a short amount of time. So I'm quite thankful for everything that's transpired here. I love defending the island. I love being in Tasmania. I love the fact that we still have so much room to grow. When I took this job, I thought it was a 3 to 5 year experience of something that was completely unique to build this franchise. We're going into the end of our 3rd year. We still have a lot of work ahead of us, and I'm very excited to be a part of this process as we go forward. Thank you.
Thanks very much, and thanks Christine and Scott for having us here today, and most importantly, thanks for the honour of for our business to be the coach's sponsor. I think it's a real privilege for our business to be a Tasmanian family-owned business and support a truly Tasmanian team. And I mentioned to Scott before that he's nearly at the point where he's growing his second head on his other shoulder, and we can call him a true Tasmanian. But yeah, real privilege for us to have the logo on the coaching team's apparel, and yeah, just really honoured and proud to be part of defending the island as well. So thanks very much, Scott. Thanks, Christine, for the great work she does with us as well, and we certainly wouldn't be here without that. And real privilege and an honour, and congratulations. Thanks.
When was the decision clear for you, or when did you decide to make the decision to first exercise that mutual option and then add another year on top?
Yeah, I think when I came back from the States, there was we were having some conversation. My contract was open-ended, really, and I think it was just one of those things that the conversations continued to go. And I wanted to be here, and I wanted to be here to kind of keep the ship going in the right direction, to help all the transitional things that were transpiring with Christine coming on board, and Mika Vacona, Darren Smith, and our organization kind of having some really good positive momentum. And I thought that I'd love to stay for 2 or 3 more years. And as the talks continued, by somewhere in December, we had got to a point where I think both sides were pretty happy with where we were at, and we made an agreement.
What's the big motivator in terms of staying in Tasmania? Is it watching this team grow, winning a championship, something else entirely, a combination of all those things?
Well, to me, there's a lot of those in there, but I'm still struck and I'm really humbled by the people that approach me constantly during the course of my time here about how proud they are to be a Tasmanian now that they have a team that's doing all the right things on and off the court. You guys get to judge us for 28 games, the media, fans, but our supporters are the ones that I really love. And we're going to have some good days and bad days, and good years and bad years, but the supporters continue to show up, and that's really what a franchise is about. And the people here, to me, are very, very special. Everything I do is to make sure the Tasmanians are proud of how we're acting on and off the floor. And this is a unique job. This is not anything I've ever gone through personally in my entire life as far as an organization of building it from the beginning. It's different than the other 9 franchises that are so far in the league. And to encompass the entire state, to make it a state that is proud of this team, has been hugely rewarding to me. I'd love to win a championship, obviously. I'd love to win a lot of games. But ultimately, this job is quite bigger at times than the 28 times you get to see us play. And I'm quite passionate about making sure that we're growing the sport for kids. We're growing the sport in the right way, and that our players and our staff and everyone is representing the state the way it should be represented, and to make Tasmanians proud.
How much has the on-court success that you've had so far made this a happy marriage with the club?
Well, I think the marriage for me was really in the beginning that I thought this was a once-in-a-lifetime job when I signed up for it, because it was so unique. The vision that Larry Ketzelman shared with me in the beginning, and my thoughts about where I thought this could go, aligned, and we've had some obviously very good luck in the first 2 years of having some winning ways, but I think really the big thing for me is we've won tremendously off the floor. We've done a fantastic job. Christine in the front office and all the people that are doing the clinics and all the things that we do around the entire state. We're not trying to get a little portion of a city. We have an entire state to encompass. Is really the attraction for me. Again, I don't rank myself as a very good coach at the end of the day, but I do rank myself very high as someone that's a communicator and a motivator and a mentor to my players, and a brand builder of trying to make sure we're doing the right things across the board. My coaching will be judged how they want to judge it during the course of my career, and it's always been that way. But for myself, I'm just quite proud of the work that I've personally been able to do around the state and the connection I've made with people. But the people of Tasmania have been overwhelmingly so positive and so loving to my family that it's hard to not fall back in love with it.
You mentioned the people of Tasmania, Scott. How big a role did they play, I guess, in you wanting to stick around in the long term?
Well, it's the number one thing for me. I got approached yesterday in the morning in Kingborough at our practice facility at 8 in the morning. A lady came in, and I ended up started crying with her. She actually said she'd never watched basketball. She went to the Sunshine Coast, and we happened to be down there, and she fell in love with this team and how it's been. And she said she was so proud to be a Tasmanian now, that they had something to cheer for, and that hits me in the heart. That's what we're all about here. This is a family organization. Winning and losing is hugely important, but at the end of the day, there's about 10 months of the year that are a lot of things are happening here to grow this business, to grow this brand, and I'm just as proud of that as the 20 times you get to see us.
Can you tell us about the decision to finish up coaching at the end of 2027?
Well, I'm finishing up coaching here. I'll probably end up coaching or consulting or doing something down the road, but I think it's a good runway for this club to be in a position to know where I stand and where they stand and how we can mutually help each other as this transition happens. It allows the people that are getting their job and their new jobs a nice runway also to get comfortable with what's happening, and then it allows you to plan ahead for what's down the road. So it's, again, unique, rare, that you get to leave kind of on your own terms, but I think the terms of us doing the right things across the board for everyone involved is quite special, and again, I'm very humbled by the fact that I'm allowed to be in this position.
Did you ever think that the club would build into what it is today when you first moved down to Tassie?
Yeah, if I listened to everyone else, we wouldn't have lasted the first year when I got down here. Everyone said you can't win down here, you can't connect the state, win 5 games, you'll be happy. All those things were said to me before I got here, and my stubbornness, good people that I've hired, really good players, and the staff that's here in the front office. We ignored the critics, and we just went about doing our business, and good things happen to you when you do that, and we continue to work as hard as we possibly can to do what we need to get done, but if I would listen to the critics, I would not be playing professional basketball, being a professional basketball coach, because everyone tell me you can't do it, you're not good enough. And I think that's part of my other motivation of being here, is that everyone in Tasmania has a little bit of a chip on their shoulder to prove the mainland wrong, and I'm all about that. And I love proving a lot of people wrong, and when they doubted us, that was quite motivating, let's say.
How automatic a decision was it, particularly given your family commitments and whatnot, and going back and forth from the US and whatnot? We know some of the troubles that you had in the early years too. Is it something that you really did have to weigh up?
Well, I didn't have to weigh up now because obviously COVID was over, but that first 18 months was ridiculous, of not seeing my wife for 14 months and my daughter for 18, and then trying to put this team together. So those were difficult times mentally. I was probably at the lowest I've ever been, and those are well behind me now. And obviously my wife being in market now and my daughter coming back and forth is a huge benefit to my wanting to stay here. They love it here. They're all about wanting to stay here as long as they possibly can. My daughter would move here if she didn't have a dog. That part was very easy to make the decision. They love Tasmania like I do, and they have been with me obviously forever, and they understand that this place is different, and how people have treated me and how this team has been received. They know the uniqueness of this situation and love every minute of it.
Would you stick around in Tassie after you finish coaching? It's a few years away, but...
Well, it's a long way away, but you never know. And again, this is one of the few places, probably the only place I can say that when I do leave here at some point or another, I will leave a piece of myself back. I've never had that feeling before of playing and coaching in different places, but I will leave a part of Scott Roth in Tasmania irregardless.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how big a piece of the puzzle is legacy for you coming down here, whether it be on court or off court or whatever it might be?
Yeah, in the beginning I really didn't think too much about it, but this will be my legacy of hopefully building a franchise that's stable and sound, that has great cultural values, that can be carried on to the next group that comes through after me. And this will be my legacy. It will be something hopefully my daughter or my wife will be proud of. It's been...
Well done, Scott.
It's been remarkable, and I'm appreciative.
Done?
Yeah.
You're constantly, I know you're under contract, but are you fighting off offers from elsewhere when you're weighing up your decision to stay?
Yeah, I mean, the last probably 6 to 8 months, there's been quite a lot of interest, especially from the Asian market, about my availability moving forward also, which was obviously something that I was getting a little bit bombarded with, and those financial things were obviously something you can consider in the long run. But for me, being here and the length of time that I will be here and remain here was really in my sweet spot of what I thought could be done yet here and the things that need to be done. And you can always seek money at the end of the day, but I don't know about seeking happiness, and this is my happy spot.
relying, I suppose, firstly with the mutual option and the extra 1 year. When did you guys know as a club that you wanted to exercise that option and then go the extra year with Scott?
It wasn't long after I became the sole CEO that Scott and I started having discussions around his contract. I've been working closely behind the scenes with Steve Old, our basketball director, and the board about what that might look like, and the board unanimously endorsed it at our last board meeting just before Christmas.
And as we just sort of heard from Scott, there's been this overwhelming interest from other markets, big money offers as well. How do you as a club combat those and continue to sell Tasmania to Scott? It sounds like it didn't take much selling, but what was your game plan?
I think there's a fine balance between knowing how much Scott loves it here. I mean, we obviously know that he's found his happy place. He doesn't just use that as words. We know that this is his happy place. Tasmania is his home, but we didn't want to get arrogant or rest on our laurels about that. And so for us, it was really about making sure that if Scott was going to see out his coaching career somewhere in Australia in the next couple of years, that he made sure it was Tasmania. So we knew that if we went to the table and kind of got that deal worked out in favour of both parties, then we would definitely get a signature. So we weren't looking over our shoulder. We were just concentrating more on what we could offer Scott, and certainly taking into account everything he just said. We know that, we feel that, we live it every day with him. So it was a matter of giving him the respect of saying, we see it, and we want to do something about that, and we want to give you the contract.
You guys obviously have final sign-off, but how much of the decision was player-driven, I suppose? How much were the players consulted?
I think the players concentrate on playing and they let the administrators administrate, and it very much the buck stops with me on any of these kind of contracts. A coach's contract is probably the biggest contract you'll sign as a CEO, so I certainly don't do that in isolation. I use my board and their skills to assist me with that, and I had several conversations and had them all in the conversation along the journey, and of course Larry Kesselman's a great sounding board for me as well. So but all of those people have been involved in the conversation. It's not something I took more broadly throughout the club because I knew the people that I needed on side, and understanding why I was going through the process I was going were there, and it worked out very well.
How important, Christine, was it to have that stability of Scott sticking around in the long term?
Yeah, look, I think stability is important in any club, but in a club still in its embryonic years, I think it's really good that we're setting foundations. And, we talk about sustainability and long-term sustainability. We know clubs have come and gone in the basketball landscape in the past, and this club is never going to be one of them. And so for me, sustainability across all pillars of the business that I mentioned earlier is important, commercial sustainability, but certainly having that seniority and Scott's experience in our club has been absolutely paramount to our success, and I knew how important that was moving forward. So it was my highest priority. I'm not going to shy away from that. As soon as I got in the job, it was my highest priority to get that contract done.
So the impact he's had on the floor, but I guess off the court's just been as big. How big a role, I guess, was that in terms of re-signing him? Yeah, look, every club has different drivers. Our driver is really the whole state of Tasmania and being a great community club, and on-court performance and competence will always be measured on that, but it's how warm we are in our community and how warm we are with our partners, and Scott plays an incredible role in that. I mean, we're a very, very small team, and we rely on each other, and I said it earlier and I'll say it again, I've worked over 20 years in clubland in professional sport, and I've never worked with a coach that understands the responsibility that a club has well beyond the court, and wins and losses, and I've really enjoyed learning from Scott in a lot of ways, and I've enjoyed at times his very deep understanding of brand and how important that is. What's the biggest thing you've learned from Scott in your time?
What's the biggest thing I've learnt from Scott?
Be careful.
Well, no, I'll tell you later. Look, I've learnt so much from Scott. I think Scott's an emotional person. Scott's a passionate person, and I am too. And I think that drives both of us at times. And what I think I've learnt here is that when you've got your board and your head coach and your CEO pushing in the same direction, great things can happen. And I think that we've got that now in this club, and I'm really excited about what's going to happen in this future. I mean, obviously we're still third on the ladder. We've got big hopes for this season, but certainly we now know the next 3 seasons we're going to be looking good with a great coach.
A lot can happen in 3 years. Are there any kind of caveats on it, or?
Nope. No, as I said, and I'll keep reiterating, it's the sum of all its parts. It's all of it. And we all love wins, and we all love the wins. And we're public facing, and we're going to be judged ultimately on our basketball performance. But this club is built on so many other things, and it's really important that we make sure that those drivers that have got us to where we are today remain in place and get stronger. So yes, absolutely, a championship is our number one goal. But it's all these other things that we're doing in our community and in schools with our partners, and that will continue to make this club great.